Thanks for dropping in. These are Pipeworks, a discontinued building toy from the 80s. And these are Printy Pipes, a 3D printable take on the same pipe construction concept. For my last video, I designed and printed a small collection of Printy Pipe parts, including a couple parts that were never found in Pipeworks kits. This week, I'm taking the project even further, with new pipes, new connectors, snap-on slats, a new way to connect pieces, and a tool that makes it easier to take these pieces apart. Let's start with these new pipes. These curved segments come in 3 lengths, each of which are perfectly sized to fit with their straight counterparts. In addition to being a nice aesthetic option, they can add a lot of rigidity to your builds. This 90-degree bend would be impossible to print without supports. So each pipe consists of 2 parts, each with a much more manageable 45-degree overhang. Just add a drop of glue, and the 2 pipe halves slot together. The first connector I'm going to reveal isn't much of a connector at all. It's this round end cap. It gives disconnected pipe ends a nice finished look. I printed some of these in PLA and others in flexible TPU. The flexible TPU is a good option if you want the end of the pipe to be a little safer. I'm really surprised that this next part wasn't included in Pipeworks sets. This 5-way connector is really useful for constructing larger builds that need lots of intersecting pipes for support. You were probably anticipating this next part. This 6-way connector rounds out all possible permutations of perpendicular pipe patterns. If you have a set of pipes intersecting at right angles, between this and the other connectors, I can now guarantee that you have a functional option. The next few connectors are ideal for mechanical builds. I took this basic hinge and added more connection points. With this 2-way hinge, you can create an expanding claw toy. And this 4-way hinge provides the stability needed for a universal joint. It really demonstrates how every additional part vastly expands the construction possibilities of the whole set. In the last video, I asked for part suggestions. Among the popular requests were connectors that break the strict 90-degree grid. Y-shaped connectors, connectors for building more complicated shapes, that sort of thing. Now that I have the square options well covered, I'll be looking into those more challenging requests very soon. Moving on from connectors, we get to my favorite new part, snap-on slats. The old Pipeworks kits included square panels and separate clips that connected those panels to your pipe-based frames. There were 2 major problems with this setup. First, the panels were restricted to a single size, and 2, the clips broke very easily. Pretty shocking for an otherwise very resilient toy. These snap-on slats solve both of those problems. The slats come in multiple sizes and are designed to slide next to each other to fill whatever length you need. We avoid the problem with the weak clip connections by incorporating the clip into the slat itself. And as an added bonus, these slats are very satisfying to snap on. In some cases, you may want to add slats on both sides of a pipe frame. For that, use these double-sided slide-on slats. Since these are 3D printed, it's easy to make as many slats as you could want. 6-year-old me would be very jealous. Those with fond memories of Pipeworks know that one of its coolest features was the locking mechanism. If you're one of those people, you'll be happy to know that this update adds locking detents to Printy Pipes. Each connector port fits 2 tiny U-shaped springs. Note that the springs aren't identical. One's a bit shorter than the other. That's so they can crisscross paths within the connection port. If you plan to go this route, be prepared to print a ton of these little springs. A single 6-way connector requires 12 springs, so they add up pretty quickly. You'll also need a well-tuned PETG profile. PLA could work, but I suspect it would wear out too quickly. Finally, the springs aren't compatible with any of the hinge pieces. There just isn't enough internal space for them to fit. If you have an alternate solution to this conundrum, let me know. But so far, shrinking the springs to fit just makes them too weak. Now that we have these locking detents, we need some way to unlock them. That brings us to this new tool. One side is shaped to wrap around the locked pipe and compress the detent springs. Now, the parts can be separated. The other side of the tool is a wedge. It's helpful for popping out panels. The wedge also has a notch cut into it. This is for removing TPU rivets. 3 functions in one, not bad for a quick print. Before I sign off, here's a mini bonus update, and that's mini Printy Pipes. These aren't new models, I just wanted to see what would happen if I tried to print the design at 50% scale. The pipes, connectors, and even the slats work great. The connections are pretty tight, which is good because I doubt any of the locking mechanisms would still work at this size. Coincidentally, the holes in the pipe are perfect for scrap filament, so if you really want to rivet parts together, that's an easy option. I think I'm going to print more of these mini pipes, but probably not at 50% scale. As cool as this is, maybe something like 60% would be a good balance between size and strength. I'm already planning another video for this project in the very near future, before letting Printy Pipes rest for a while. So please keep sending in ideas for custom parts you'd like for me to explore. So until next time, happy printing, and thanks for stopping by.